Good evening, haunters. Welcome back to another episode of Holiday Horrors. In tonight's episode, gluttony takes on a whole new meaning for this festive family of farmers. Holiday tradition is held high, and the fires of Old Smoky is waiting to be fed.
Boy, I can't wait, Ma. Thanksgiving is the best time of the year.
Danny laughed with his mother on the phone.
And I'll be there in a bit, so don't worry.
Oh, I never do. You always come through for me.
Okay, Ma. I have the biggest and best
A large woman walked by, piquing his interest momentarily.
turkey.
It better be a fat one. Everyone's coming over.
I will, Ma. And don't forget about my steak pie. You know how I like it.
I know. You just get here tomorrow night with that turkey. I need to let it slow simmer.
Yes, ma'am. See you then.
He blew her a kiss and hung up.
Woohoo! Time to have some fun.
He ran after the woman and spoke to her for some time. By the time he headed home, he already had her number. But she was the last thing on his mind as he entered his house. He grabbed a beer out of the fridge and sat down in front of the TV.
Delilah! You packed?
From upstairs, he heard a shift, then heavy footsteps as his main girl thumped into the hallway. He swore it sounded like she gained 10 more pounds since that morning.
Yes,
She shouted.
I've packed and double-checked. When do we leave?
First thing in the morning.
He threw down the remote as he found a suitable station.
Did you defrost the turkey?
Yes, it's in the sink.
Good. Ma needs it.
Slowly, he drifted off, dreaming of Thanksgiving dinner at his mom's house with all of his family there. It was going to be glorious, especially since he was bringing his best girl along. He woke up to the trilling of his alarm, jumped out of his chair and headed for the shower, waking up Delilah along the way. He had meant to sleep the whole day away. His excitement had just gotten the best of him.
Baby! Get your big ass up out that bed, girl. We got to go.
Ready up. By 6:30 in the morning, they were on the road to Mama's. The farm was huge, over 50 acres, that included a main house, a barn, a guest house, a cornfield, and the pride of the family, the chop shop featuring Old Smoky, Mom's faithful meat smoker. It smoked meat to perfection. Ducks, chickens, cows, pigs, deer, coons, name it, and Old Smoky gave it flavor. Yes, indeed, the farm stayed afloat due to the business that Old Smoky brought in. As he turned down the path to the family farm, he could see fresh tire tracks. The family was already gathering. By the time they reached the main house, Danny was smiling from ear to ear. He pulled the truck in and could barely keep his excitement down as he jumped out, eyes on the man sitting on the porch.
Woo, Cousin Floyd. Ain't seen you since the last 8, right? How you been?
Well, shit, if it ain't Cousin Danny.
Floyd stood up from his seat, a beamy smile on his face.
Good to see you again. Who's this luscious-looking pretty ma you got with you?
Oh,
Danny looked back at Delilah, who was getting the turkey from the truck, damn near forgetting she had tagged along.
well, this one here?
He grabbed her shoulders and pulled her to the forefront, making her gasp and clutch the large bird.
This beauty here is named Delilah, but I just call her my baby.
He laughed, and so did Floyd.
I see you brought the turkey. Big.
He eyed the bird in Delilah's hands and smiled.
Come on. Ma's an Old Smoky.
With a grin, Floyd led the two to the smokehouse, chattering away about everything and nothing. Inside, Mama Betty was tasting some of her smoked meats and smiling. Even though Aunt Betty wasn't his mother, she was a pivotal part of his life. Like most of the children in the family, she was a second mother to him, his ma.
Hey, Ma.
It was hard to hide his excitement.
Ma! Cousin Danny's here, and he brought his girlfriend.
Betty immediately stopped what she was doing, her smile seeming to widen as she turned to them. First eyeing Delilah, then the turkey in her hands, before she turned to the impatiently waiting Danny, who already had his arms open. Danny! She laughed and pulled him into a hug. I see you kept your promise.
Of course, Ma.
And who is this? She questioned, pulling back to stare at his girl.
I'm Delilah, ma'am, It's good to meet you.
She presented the fat turkey to the matriarch. Betty looked her up and down before beaming again. Well, don't you know how to make a good first impression? Let me get this cleaned and cooking before I go any further. Got to get that turkey done before tomorrow. Son, take her inside. I got breakfast going, and I also have other meats to get out. People are counting on me today. As Betty was talking, Delilah began looking around, eyeing all the hanging meat and strange equipment.
Hey, what's that table for?
She pointed to a large stainless steel table with the holes attached to it.
We're hunters, ma'am.
Floyd quickly explained.
We use that table to clean and drain the meat.
I take it my son didn't tell you what I sell? Betty questioned dryly, shooting the sheepish Danny a look.
Oh, no, ma'am. No, he didn't.
Well, I'm the #1 provider of smoked meats around here, she explained proudly. And call me Mommy Betty, child. Everybody does. Now, let me get this done so I can feed everybody. More family be coming soon. She took the turkey from Delilah's hands and turned around while Danny took Delilah to the house.
Here, come look at these.
He showed her all of the family pictures on the walls and around the room as more and more people showed up. Together in family tradition, they began decorating the house for the holidays, joking and laughing as they ate breakfast, and then set the tables for tomorrow. Today they would eat in a large kitchen that accommodated them all. Mama made sure of that. After breakfast, Betty began cooking dinner. Family members chipped in on cutting potatoes, snapping peas, measuring, making dough, and anything else that needed to be done. Music played loudly as the family's jubilance was overwhelming. Delilah had a great time enjoying her family as large as theirs. There had to be over 20 family members and no one was arguing or fighting. So close-knit, so happy. When Mama brought the turkey in, everyone cheered as she put it in the oven. The house smelled so good, and as night fell, Delilah couldn't wait for tomorrow. She yawned in the middle of poker and Mama looked at her. Tired, child?
Yeah,
She confessed regretfully.
I think I should go to bed now.
Oh, okay. Son, take a girl on up and get her settled in.
Okay, Ma. Come on, girl.
Danny helped her up and let out a strained grunt.
Damn. I think you gained a few more pounds since you got here.
Gushing with embarrassment, Delilah grabbed her stomach.
Danny!
Mama Betty laughed heartily. Well, that's a compliment if I ever heard one.
I just ate a little more than what I should.
Delilah blushed as everyone chuckled.
I'm supposed to be losing weight, but I just keep gaining this year.
My dear, the bigger the better. Mama Betty patted her stomach. Now go on up and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Okay, Mama Betty. See everybody in the morning.
Delilah smiled.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Shouts of goodbyes and good nights came from the family as she went up the stairs.
Nice girl.
Floyd smiled.
Real nice.
The party mood was back on. Upstairs, Delilah changed and brushed her teeth, then crawled into bed beside Danny, who was already fast asleep. She smiled as she cuddled up to him, listening as her stomach settled.
I seriously had too much to eat today.
She grumbled as she drifted off to sleep. Hours later, quick fleeting movements flitted through the house. Dark shadows darted here and there as the house sprung back to life on a quieter level. Danny's room door slowly opened as he rose up out of bed and stood over his girlfriend. Slowly, Floyd walked over with the black hood and rope. They smiled at each other as Floyd quickly slipped the hood over Delilah's head, surprising her out of her sleep.
What the?
She began fighting, but Floyd put an end to that. A few quick jabs to the face and Delilah went limp. The entire family gathered as Delilah was carried from the room. Woohoo! She is a biggin'. Billy beamed. You did great this year, Cousin Danny.
Yes, she is a mighty fine specimen. Sure enough is.
Cousin Nellie smiled a broken smile.
Nice and fat.
She licked her lips. They met Betty at the bottom of the steps and watched her inspect Delilah closely. Mama's expert fingers prodded the meat. Yes, she would do. She would do just fine. Take it, old Smokey. He's waiting for her. Like a side of beef, Delilah was carried to the smokehouse. They threw her down on the table, stripped her of all clothing, and washed and shaved off all of her body hair. As she began to stir, they quickly shackled her arms and feet.
What are you doing?
Delilah questioned groggily.
What are you doing to me?
She began to panic when she felt the heat of Old Smoky and the cold steel of the table on her bare back. Her eyes fell on Danny, who smiled at her.
Oh, God. Oh, God, what's going on?
Callously, Betty turned the water back on and began washing her again. Gotta make sure the meat's all clean, sweetie.
Meat?
Delilah cried. Mm-hmm. The bound woman stared around in astonishment at the family who just a few hours ago welcomed her with open arms.
What are you doing to me?
Well, we need the main course, don't we?
Danny stroked her bald head.
How else are we all going to eat? And the meat must be fresh, yes?
But the turkey.
Oh yeah, it's done. It goes to the church tomorrow. But you come to us tonight.
Danny walked over to a bucket that was sitting by the wall and began kicking it over, resting it at the end of the table.
Okay, Mom, we's ready.
Betty reappeared carrying the biggest knife Delilah had ever seen. She never knew fear. True fear could bring up every emotion in a matter of seconds. She shook. Her teeth chattered. Panic and unknown emotions ran over each other as she struggled to understand what was going on. Betty raised the knife as Danny and Floyd moved Delilah up to the end of the table, allowing her head to hang just a few feet above the bucket. Horror overtook her as she struggled to breathe, the awkward angle of her neck making each breath she took strained.
Mama, please. Please let me go.
She struggled to no avail, her pleading falling on deaf ears. Sorry, darling. Gotta feed the family, and there's just so much a turkey can do. Betty tissed. But now, the taste of big and such as yourself, succulent, juicy, and when stuffed with dressing, damn, ain't nothing like it. Nothing like it at all. The matriarch raised her machete, licking her lips before Danny stopped her.
Let me, Mom.
He bounced.
She a little thick around the neck area. You might hurt yourself.
Mama nodded and stepped back, handing him the machete.
One good clean swoop, son. Not too messy.
She tilted her head.
On second thought, put it in the fire.
The fire? Haven't done that in a while.
Danny opened up the wood-burning pit and put the machete in, then waited until it was burning hot to take it out. Delilah struggled to get free, pleading her case to the matriarch who wasn't listening, because she was staring entranced at the blazing hot weapon.
Kill! 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 Kill!
The family rallied around Danny.
Kill! 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 Kill!
No!
Delilah cried as Danny stood over her, machete raised high in the air.
No, Danny! Danny!
Her eyes widened in fear and disbelief as the machete swooped down on her.
Danny, no!
The red hot blade sliced through her neck with relative ease and with little blood loss severing her head. It thumped and squished in the bucket before finally coming to a rest.
Yeah!
The family cheered as Delilah's shocked body jerked and pulled against her restraints before finally falling still. Betty stepped up and spoke.
Another year and it's a great one. Once again, Danny came through. This time even better than before. This should be enough to feed even the grandkids. Now help me clean her out so we can get her in the cooker. I want the Delilah special ready before the greats come.
With glee, Danny began to skin and process the meat, everyone chipping in because she was so large. They laughed and joked during the bloody event, mouths drooling as smells began to waft through the air.
Add more wood to the fire and smoke those legs. Those are gonna be good. Lots of meat on them bones, Betty cackled.
Enough to take home?
Floyd questioned.
Yes, sweetie, we will have leftovers this year. You can take some home.
Yes! Floyd clenched his fist enthusiastically, then grabbed the leg off the seasoning table and hung it on a hook. Betty put the other leg on the table.
Hurry, get it done. That meat's gonna take a while to cook. But look at all the fat. Should juice up real nice.
For hours, the family helped make Delilah more edible for the festivities, making sure each piece was seasoned to perfection before being either smoked or put in a massive oven for slow cooking. By 6 p.m., Grandma and Great-Grandma Atticus arrived and the doors were opened.
Mama! Grandma!
Betty threw her arms around her mother and grandmother, the true matriarchs of the family. They taught them everything they knew.
Come in. Dinner's all ready for you.
And the specialty?
Great grandma asked.
Of course. Have I ever let you down?
Food was plentiful and joy was all around as the festivities began. The Delilah special lay golden brown in the center of the table, even more enjoyable than last year's Mindy special, and with much more to go around. Bits of her fat seasoned the greens, the beans, and many gravies. And Uncle Bobby even complimented Danny on his choice of prime cut.
Thanksgiving's all about that butt. And I want a piece of that ass this year.
In the middle of dinner, Danny stood up and laid his phone down on the table. He clinked his glass 3 times as he raised it, instantly gaining everyone's undivided attention.
This year, I want to give thanks to Mama for making this one of the best Thanksgivings ever. With plenty of food and family around, we are sure to grow strong.
Yeah, mama. Go on, my baby.
You'll be eating good now.
That's my mom. Woo!
Everyone clapped for Betty, making her beam as they cheered for her. After a moment, Danny clinked his glass again.
And now, on to some future moves.
He shushed them and pressed in on his phone. After a few rings, a woman answered.
Hello?
Hey, beautiful.
She giggled.
Danny, I thought you wouldn't call me.
Well, why not, Thickness?
Because men don't like, big girls. I thought it was a dare or something.
Well, I love him. Love him to death.
He laughed darkly. She giggled and so did everyone else. Next year's dinner was already on the phone. Oh, Delilah. Delicious Delilah. Unfortunately for her, her first impression was the right one. She was just the turkey they were looking for.